It begins in the dark, long before roads or satellites, when the mountains were shaped by something older than names. The Appalachians breathe differently at night. The air doesn't just move, it remembers. Mist sinks heavy between trees like breath trapped beneath the skin of the world. Somewhere deep inside the range, a lantern flickers behind warped glass. A shack door opens, empty, and then closes itself. The sound travels down the hollow like bone dropped on stone. Coyotes pause mid-song. Even the river forgets its direction. No screams. Only the silence that arrives first. Always first. We at the Night Owl Archives retrieve these transmissions from the cold heart of those mountains. 5 records, unlinked by time yet bound by a single pulse of fear. The wax cylinders were warped, the reel-to-reel tapes brittle, but the whispers pressed into them remained unbroken. The Appalachian chain has always concealed its dead. 100 forgotten mining towns, chapels vanished under moss, stairways leading nowhere but down. We catalogue them not as myths, but as witness statements from the earth itself. We now read you the recovered field recordings, translated into written confession. As always, we do not claim truth, only memory. And these memories speak with the voice of the mountain's hunger. Imagine the room where we stand, stone walls slick with condensation, candlelight stitched through fog, each flame bending as though listening. The map of the Appalachian spine glows faintly on the wall, red pins pulsing like heartbeats. Tonight, we unseal 5 cases buried too deep to remain quiet. If you have ever stood under those endless pines and felt watched by the dark between branches, consider this your invitation. Subscribe to this order of remembrance. Let the next file find you when the night is most still. Activate your notification, not for the sake of the channel, but so the mountain knows where to find you when it calls again. Case 1. The Diary in the Cabin. The diary was discovered after the search team found the cabin, deep in a forgotten hollow, its door locked tight with rusted iron nails. The air inside was thick with the musk of decayed wood and crushed pine needles, the only light a weak shaft filtering through a fractured window pane. It lay on a splintered table, bound in cracked leather, its pages yellowed but stubbornly intact. Entry 1, September 18th. The mountain is restless tonight. I hear it shifting, a sound like dry bones grinding beneath the soil, though nothing should be moving this late. The wind carries whispers, not the kind your mind tricks you into hearing, but honest words edged with warning. I'm riding by the flicker of a single candle, hoping that the words will make whatever lurks beyond these walls keep its distance. The nights here carry a darkness that presses close, that tastes metallic on my tongue. I live alone now, the village abandoned years ago after the mine collapsed. The old folks spoke of creatures that walk just beyond the firelight, shadows with eyes that glow like dying embers. I thought them stories meant to scare children, but now I'm not so sure. 3 nights ago, I found the marks, deep gouges in the earth around the cabin. They circle the house like some grim ritual. At first, I thought wild animals, but the tracks bear no prints, only clawed crescents digging into the dirt. And the sounds. Something scratches at the walls, low and deliberate, like fingers trying to remember forgotten prayers. At dawn, the forest held its breath. Not a single bird sang. Even the raven vanished. I am not alone, and the night knows my name. September 20th. The scratching grows louder with each night, no longer confined to the outer walls but now seeming to pulse within them, resonating like a heartbeat trapped behind rotting timber. It wakes me after long stretches of sleep, my breath catching in the cold air. There is a smell too, iron and something sweeter, like bruised wild berries fermenting in the dark. I tried to keep the candle lit last night, but the flame danced as though possessed by a breathless breath. Shadows seemed to twist just beyond the circle of light, refusing to be named or faced. I shiver not from cold but from a presence settling over the cabin like a cloak. The food dwindles, and the sky dims early, thick clouds swallowing stars. There is a silence that robs the forest of its usual chorus. No crickets, no owls. Time itself feels stretched, every minute heavier than the last. I have stopped looking out the windows. The trees are too still, too watchful. I hear footsteps pacing the perimeter outside, slow, methodical. When I flare the candle toward the door, the darkness retreats but never flees. A voice came through the old radio I found, static written but unmistakable. It spoke in a language I don't know, low and trembling like a prayer for mercy or a curse bound tight with bone. September 22nd. I am trapped in something much older than fear. Behind every gust of wind, behind every creek, is the presence of things that learn to live in the dark before humans claimed the forest. Tonight, the scratching turned to pounding. The door shook as if something tried to break in, not to kill, but to remember. I buried my face in my hands and whispered the old words I heard as a child, words that felt like ash on my tongue. The cabin fell silent again, but I know it is only waiting. September 24th. Tonight, I glimpsed it, an impossible shape moving just beyond the edge of the firelight. It was tall, but not quite human. A silhouette stitched from shadow and bark, with eyes that blazed like twin embers in the night. It wore the forest like skin, its limbs twisting as if they grew from the earth itself. The old stories flood back, whispers of the Wambalong, the ancient guardian turned predator, born from the hunger of the mountain's roots and the sorrow of forgotten souls. They say it is a creature of vengeance, neither living nor dead, woven from the very soil and dark memory that holds the Appalachians together. It does not move with haste. Instead, it watches, waiting for the night to fold tighter around its prey. I tried to write by the dwindling candle, but a coldness seeped from the floorboards, crawling up my spine like the touch of 1,000 unseen fingers. Its breath smelled of damp earth and rot, and I cannot tell if the wind carries it or if it is here, inside with me. I no longer believe I am alone in this world. There is a hunger in the mountain, an ancient curse alive beneath the moss and stone. This creature is not just a legend. It is the mountain breathing its fury, a nightmare grafted into the roots of the forest. If this diary is ever found, let it be known, the Wambalong does not take what it wants, it reclaims what was lost, and we are but trespassers in its unending vigil. September 25th. Final entry. The silence after its passing is different, thick, charged, a wound in the world. The marks around the cabin have multiplied, deep troughs clawed into the soil. Inside, everything smells of damp stone and old blood. I find bruises on my arms where frost pressed through the wood in the night. I cannot recall how long I lay awake. My body aches, but I do not feel truly empty, more like an echo, flagged by something ancient and inexorable. The Wambalong is gone, but its memory shivers in the air, vibrating through the floorboards and reflected in every faded shadow. The wildlife still refuses to return. No birds, no insects, just the constant, soft sound of something distant dragging across the forest's floor. I seal the cabin's door again. I barely eat. The candle burns out early, leaving only the cold blue shape of moonlight trembling on the walls. This file remains sealed under panoptic protocol. The site remains quarantined, original diary locked in Archive Vault 38A, witness presumed lost. Yet each midnight, the old radio inside the cabin flickers on by itself, repeating the survivor's last entry in a voice warped by static and sorrow. Let the record show, the mountain does not forgive, it only reclaims. And long after we close the file, something walks beneath the pines, waiting for the next trespass to remember.